Admiral Kethvar stared at the holographic display, his four eyes blinking in sequence as he processed the impossible sight before him. Where his instruments had shown empty space around the third planet of Sol system just moments ago, now burned, the heat signatures of 17 massive vessels materializing from what appeared to be nothing. Stealth technology, whispered his tactical officer, Lieutenant Zarath. But the energy readings, they're off the scale. The hegemony had declared Earth dead 3 cycles ago. Their long-range surveys had detected no radio emissions, no heat signatures, no signs of technological civilization. The planet registered as a lifeless rock, another casualty of the galaxy's endless cycle of extinction events. It was why they had chosen Sol system as the staging ground for their expansion into this spiral arm. Kethvar's mandibles clicked, nervously. The hegemony's intelligence had been absolute. Earth was empty. Humanity was extinct. The official records stated as much, filed and sealed in the central archives of a dozen worlds. "Sir?" Zarath's voice trembled. "We're receiving a transmission." The bridge fell silent except for the hum of the ship's systems. Kethvar had commanded vessels for 40 cycles, had witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations. But something about this moment made his exoskeleton crawl with dread. Put it through. Static filled the bridge, followed by a voice that spoke in perfect hegemonic standard. Impossible, since no human had ever been taught their language. "Hegemony vessels, this is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Fleet. You have entered Sol system under the false assumption that Earth is uninhabited. We are here to correct that misconception." Kethvar's secondary hearts began racing. How do they know our language? How do they know we're here? The human voice continued, calm and measured. "We have been watching your expansion for some time, Admiral Kethvar. Yes, we know who you are. We know about the 67 worlds you've liberated from their native populations. We know about your standing orders regarding worlds classified as empty." A chill ran through Kethvar's chitin. Those orders were classified beyond top secret. Only the High Command knew the true nature of their expansion protocols. "You see," Admiral Chen's voice carried a note of dark amusement. "When you declared Earth empty 3 cycles ago, you made a critical error in judgment. You assumed that silence meant extinction. You never considered that silence might mean patience." On the tactical display, the 17 human ships began to move. They moved like nothing Kethvar had ever seen, not with the ponderous grace of hegemony dreadnoughts, or the darting aggression of Veltar raiders. They moved like predators, like hunters who had been waiting for prey to wander into their web. "For 3 years," Chen continued, "we watched your fleet strip mine the outer system. We watched you establish your forward bases on Mars and Europa. We cataloged your weapons, your tactics, your communication protocols. We learned your language and studied your culture, all while you remained convinced that Sol was yours for the taking." Lieutenant Zarath's voice cracked. "Sir, they're ships. They're not appearing on any of our classification databases. The hull configurations, the weapon arrays, none of it matches any known technology." Kethvar studied the approaching vessels. They were sleek, where hegemony ships were angular, dark, where others were bright. And they moved with a coordination that suggested not just advanced technology, but advanced battlefield experience. "You're wondering about our ships," Admiral Chen said, as if reading his thoughts. "These aren't exploration vessels, Admiral. These aren't even our primary fleet. These are the ships we built while you weren't watching, while you thought Earth was dead." The lead human vessel, a massive dreadnought that somehow managed to look both elegant and terrifying, pulled alongside Kethvar's flagship. This close, he could see details that made his blood freeze. Weapon ports that glowed with energies his sensors couldn't identify. Hull plating that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. And along the bow, in stark white letters, a name: Retribution. "The hegemony has operated under a simple principle." Chen's voice had grown harder. "If a world appears empty, it's yours to take. If a species can't defend itself, it doesn't deserve to survive. You've built an empire on the bones of those who couldn't fight back." Kethvar found his voice. "We, We can negotiate. The hegemony recognizes territorial claims. We can withdraw. Admiral, Chen interrupted, you misunderstand. This isn't a negotiation. This is a correction. The tactical display exploded into chaos. The 17 human ships had somehow multiplied into hundreds. No, not multiplied. They had been there all along, hidden by stealth technology so advanced it made their own systems look like stone tools. You see, we humans have a saying, Chen continued conversationally, as Kethvar watched his entire task force being surrounded by vessels that hadn't existed moments before. Speak softly and carry a big stick. For 3 years we've been very, very quiet. The space around Earth came alive with light. Not the harsh glare of weapon fire, but something else. Something that turned the void itself into a weapon. Kethavar's sensors screamed warnings about energy buildups that exceeded theoretical maximums. We've spent those 3 years preparing, Admiral Chen said. Not just ships, not just weapons. We've been preparing for you, for your entire empire, because Earth might have been silent, Admiral, but humanity has never been empty. The last thing Kethvar saw before his ship's systems went dark was Earth itself, no longer the dead world his sensors had reported. City lights sparkled across, the continents like stars. Orbital platforms gleamed in the sunlight, and everywhere the signatures of a civilization that had never died. It had simply been waiting. In the silence that followed, Admiral Chen's voice came through the emergency channel, calm and final. The hegemony declared Earth empty. Today, humanity answers that declaration. This system is closed to your empire, permanently. As Kethvar's ship drifted powerless in space, he realized the terrible truth. Earth had never been empty. It had been bait, and the hegemony had taken it completely.